Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. Speaking of adventures of our lifetime, I gotta tell you, I am so excited. I am so happy. I'm so happy. Did I tell you that I'm really rather happy? I've got two wonderful ladies here, and we are going to be talking. First of all, we're going to be talking with Swami, and she's going to pronounce her last name so that I don't butcher it again. Swami?
Respect. Kevin, it's great to see you. And my teacher, who was Swami Shankarananda, consecrated me as Swami Nityananda.
How long did that take him to come up with?
So, and it's also my great pleasure to welcome Acharya Kashi.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great, Kevin. I'm happy to be here.
I know I'm happy to have you here, and it's great fun because we're going to talk about. First of all, I want to get this out early and often. If you want to go find a community of like-minded people, and theirs is based upon yoga and meditation and helping each other, and you can go to this community and go to the website, which is awakeyogameditation.org, and you can find all about what they do, the people that they have, and they've got a whole community of like-minded people that meditate together and tell stories with each other, and to really work to live their best life, which is what this show's about, which is why I'm so excited to have the two of you here. So both of you, welcome.
Kevin, it's awesome to talk with you. And I really agree. There is an intersection between the positivity of your show and the positivity of our community. So we're a meditation community in the yogic tradition, which means we practice the teachings of light and truth and kindness. And it's just an absolute joy. Kashi, would you like to chime in?
Yeah, I'll just hop in to say that as a member of the community and as a student of Swami Nityananda, I can say with absolute certainty that living the yogic teachings and being in community with like-minded people who are dedicated to spreading kindness and love and joy and understanding has absolutely transformed my life from the inside out. You know, all of the things that I can say externally have transformed, they are minor compared to the transformation that has happened to me on the inner landscape. And ultimately, that's the invitation that I extend, that Swami extends to every human, to turn your gaze within and to do a little inner housekeeping such that you can witness the light that is here with us eternally, such that you can touch the boundless, just gushing, overflowing love that is right within you. And it is just a real great joy to be a part of community. And in fact, the Buddha himself discussed how important it is to come together in community, which is why he founded a Sangha, a meditation community, as opposed to, not doing that. With his life, he made visible to each of us what is possible when we come together in community.
And I will tell you that it's interesting. I get to talk to a whole bunch of people, and the person I had on the show last hour, and what we were talking about was, and especially this happens with women, but it happens with all of us. We get busy. We get so busy, and we're always on the go. We think we should be always, if we're sitting still, we should be not sitting still. We should be doing something. We should be going. And what ends up happening is, as she described it, we end up waking up with apprehension and anxiety. We spend our day with anxiety. We go to bed with anxiety. We wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with anxiety. I can't think of anything more hell-like than living a life like that. And so one of the things that you guys do and you talk about and you preach is that it's important to live your life in a more complete way and not going from disaster to this and that, and I'm not good enough and I can't do this and he doesn't want it, and all of that stuff. So that's kind of what your community is about, isn't it?
It's lovely. I mean, I love your description, Kevin, how when we meditate, and this is something as simple as meditating 20 minutes in the morning, we more than get that time back throughout the rest of the day because we have this feeling of being calm and centered and balanced and poised. And I was smiling, like listening to you, Kevin, listening to Acharya Kashi. There's just so much light and kindness and joy that spreads through both of you. And that's the true nature of each of us. And so one of the great gifts of the yogic teachings, and the yogic teachings have been refined, they've been honed over the millennia, and they're still fully potent. They're here for us now. These teachings just remind us that the true nature of each of us makes it possible for us to live in joy and peace and freedom. And Acharya Kashi was alluding to this. We don't have to wait for anything external to transform. We can simply connect with this core of quiet, this core of unconditional, boundless love within ourselves. And then what happens is clarity arises. It just unfolds naturally. And we have a sense of, that's a priority. That's a priority. I can let that go. I can forgive that. I can free myself from feeling entangled in that. And then what happens is we're really living in ways that transform our relationship with ourselves, which transforms our relationship with everyone and everything else. And so it has really positive implications for all of our friends, our family, our workplaces, our colleagues, our cities, our relationship with the beautiful natural world that we have and we are stewards of here. And so I'll just pause and see if Acharya Kashi wants to chime in.
Thank you, Swami. That was so beautiful, beautifully said. And I'm also reminded that when we sit in stillness, when we meditate, it offers us an opportunity to come into contact with that stillness that exists within us. And we can observe very clearly that external voice that we identify with that says, oh, I have anxiety. Oh, this is not working for me. And so it's through that practice of cultivating that inner space that in the places where we would fall into like, man, this feels like a pattern of something that doesn't feel good. It actually heals itself, and we can witness and see that this is something external. This is something that I have created and that I have identified with. And in that way, we come to see what is true reality. And so most humans, myself included, and through practice, I have refined myself, but we're moving on autopilot, and we're assuming that the things that we think and the things that we feel and the things that we do are what we are. And so if I am X, Y, and Z, all of my emotions are identified with that. And in that way, I'm sort of moving like a balloon in the wind. I'm unconnected, I'm unruddered. And what meditation does is helps us to connect with that which is ever steady and that which is unchanging. And we can come to witness, I am not that which I identify with. So ultimately, the question, who am I? The practice of yoga helps us to come to that answer within ourselves.
Are you guys, well, first of all, I want to tell everybody that this show, well, of course, we spend hours going over every bit of the show, making sure that it's no, we don't do that. This is all coming from people's hearts. And both of your hearts are just really in the right place to be able to talk to people and to help people. Are either of you familiar with what I call the be, do, have paradigm?
You can tell me. I might recognize it as soon as you tell me. I see Acharya Kashi nodding.
Go ahead, Akasha.
So my understanding of it is, for anything that you say that you would like to experience, you have to be it first. It's a lot of times we think that if we have something, then we are that thing. But the paradigm shifts it and says that if you want to be a writer, for example, be a writer. What is it that the writer does? And so live your life as the writer. And it is from that energy perspective, it's from that energetic vibration that you draw into your experience that which you say you want to be. And in fact, you already are it, because there's no gap between what you say you want to be, a writer, and what you are. And so you're living in the consciousness, to continue this analogy, of writer. And then it's only natural from that perspective that the natural laws of the universe will draw into your experience that which you already are. I saw, I don't remember the name of the teacher, but the teaching was that we don't get what we want, we get what we are. And it was just basically about your vibrational stance, your vibrational set point. And so whatever you, however your stance is, that's what you are drawing into your experience.
That is spot on perfect. As a matter of fact, I learned this from a gentleman. He's going to be on the show week after next, and Neil Donald Walsh, and he wrote Conversations with God. And one of the things that God told him was, you all have it backwards. I have a friend. He's from New Jersey. And I don't know if you know people from New Jersey, but they've got a particular way of talking and a particular way of acting. And it's like, no, what are you talking about, dude? You got to do stuff. If you want to be happy, before you can do it, you got to do stuff. And then maybe if you do enough stuff, then maybe you'll be happy someday and live your life. But you got to do this be stuff. So, and God told Neil, you guys have all got it backwards. It doesn't. Oh boy, it doesn't work that way. It is. I have a new phone. I don't know how to turn it off. Help me, God. In any event, in order, and exactly like you said it, in order for you to attain happiness, you need to be happy with your current situation, your current circumstance, because then it allows change to come into your life, and positive change. So if you be happy, then you can have the things you want, and then you'll get to do the things that can make you even more happy. And so that you say, I don't know, you said it a hell of a lot better than I did. I can tell you that right now.
So, Kevin, chiming in on one of the things that you said that I really loved, which I think kind of combines what you're talking about with what Acharya Kashi is talking about, is you talked about open-heartedness. And I think you also just talked about maybe purity of heart as well. And so that was a foundational teaching from my teacher, Swami Nityananda, who basically said, if you can love unconditionally, that raises your frequency, that raises your vibration. And then you don't have to wait. It's not hard. So the heart of each of us is natural, pure love. And so if we just go to our own heart and we open our heart and we allow this natural, pure love to flow, then we're in that energy of being. Each of us in truth is always connected to the energy of pure being. Pure source energy is another way that you could put it, or pure light, or pure kindness, pure divine energy, whatever your word for it is, we're already connected. And so when we just open our heart and feel directly that natural flow of love, then the being takes care of itself. And then our frequency shifts as well. And Kashi was alluding to this, Acharya Kashi was alluding to this earlier, that in itself will transform our outer experiences as well. But it's almost like a byproduct of simply opening our heart and being in contact with that unconditional love. So then what happens is there's not a lot of strain and struggle and forcing. It's just this joy, this fun of allowing your heart energy to share. So each of us, I mean, Kevin, you've been demonstrating this the whole time we've been talking. Each of us has a particular frequency for our heart energy that's completely unique, completely perfect, and already with us. And we can't help but share it. We're all sharing it all the time. And so part of what the yogic teachings and meditation help you connect with is the beauty and the perfection that is the natural, pure energy and light of each of us. And then when we have the ability to connect with that and trust that, then we're living in this energy of freedom from within ourselves, empowerment from within ourselves, joy from within ourselves, and also the ability to trust the goodness and the brightness and the kindness in other humans as well. And so when we're moving in that flow of energy, our interactions with our families, our friends, wherever we are, our workplaces, the world, they will naturally transform. And it just happens effortlessly as a byproduct of living with this purity of heart.
And you had mentioned something before we began, and that was that you guys have a monthly call or a monthly meeting, the two of you. And is that right?
Acharya Kashyap, do you want to chime in and describe?
Yeah, so at the meditation community, at Awake Yoga Meditation, we have a series that we offer once a month called the Truth, Love, and Justice series. And the series answers the question, how does a yogi approach X, Y, and Z? So some examples of some past conversations that Swami and I have explored. Well, we have one coming up this Sunday. How does a yogi approach politics? For example.
Oh, good. That's a good one.
Exactly. It's about on the ground, real life. How do the teachings apply to this? Like, what's right in front of me? What do the yogic teachings say about LGBTQAI plus? What does it say about that? What does the yogic teaching say about conflict in relationships? What do the yogic teachings say about relationships in general? And so we have these conversations each month where we discuss these things, again, very much grounded in what we experience every day as humans, from war and peace, to forgiveness, to healing and pain. And then we share these timeless teachings, and it's really so fun. And one thing I have shared with Swami is that no matter what topic we discuss, it always feels fresh, one, but the teachings, the approach almost never changes, if that makes sense. Like, we can discuss pretty much anything that happens in the realm of time and space. And for everything that happens in the realm of time and space, there is a way forward that is graceful, that is helpful, that is kind, that is loving, that recognizes the oneness in all things. That is totally possible for that which seems the most complex, that which seems the most complicated. In oneness, all things are simplified. All of the paradoxes are harmonized. We come into absolute clarity, and we can just see with absolute wisdom and tenderness too, and understanding for the humans, you, me, and all who walk through these sometimes very, very challenging circumstances. Regardless, we are aware that love is always walking with us. Every step we take, love steps with us. Every breath we breathe, love breathes with us. And that includes the most challenging of human situations. And then to take that a step further, in every human challenge, there is a divine unfolding. We might not with human eyes or human intellect be able to comprehend, to answer the question of why. But if we get quiet enough on the level of soul, that internal, quiet knowing, it is very, very, very clear that there is a divine unfolding to all things. And so in that way, we can walk in peace. If we have that internal peace, we can walk in peace in a world that could be rife with chaos. And when we come into contact with that peace that exists within us, it goes beyond the confines of our human bodies, meaning that by being peaceful, by living in the consciousness of peace, we can carry that peace with us when we walk into a grocery store, when we're driving in a car, when we're having a conversation with a colleague. And that And that peace then comes into contact with that person. And it is then an invitation to that person to also come into contact with that peace. I heard Swami tell a story before of the Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, who went to speak to an audience that was kind of rowdy. They were very excited to see him. And he was so filled with peace that when he walked onto the stage, the whole audience fell quiet. Everything just became still. And so it is possible for us to do the same, to be that in the midst of those human chaotic moments. And so that is the purpose of the Truth, Love, and Justice series. One, so that we recognize the truth that exists within all things, and two, the justice inherent in all things. Justice being that, I saw a definition that I loved, and I use it often. It's love. It's karma yoga, which is love in action to alleviate the suffering of others. And then love, which is the only thing that is real anyway. And I'll pause. I just said a lot, so if you want to chime in.
No, what you said is that you're very, by the way, you're very talented at what you do, and you're really great. And I wanted to mention this. I've talked to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people all the time. And all the people, my favorite people, and the ones that are vibrating at the highest level, all say the same things. Now, you haven't met them. You don't know them. You haven't read the same book or books. You haven't, but you're all saying the same things. And it's all inherent upon the human condition as it was meant to be, not as it is. And we can make those changes. Okay, now I'm getting on my soapbox. We can make those changes for a positive way, but there's sometimes it requires a community. It requires people to help others get to that place, because you weren't always as articulate and as gifted as you are today. It was a process that you learned. I'm willing to bet. I don't know that for a fact, but
it is a fact. It is a fact.
But because you know it now, it's not even a belief. It's not even a hope. It's not even faith. It's an understanding and a knowing of what is right and what works. And we need to take a quick break. But when we come back, I'm going to set the you two up in the second half of the show. I'm going to turn you two loose on each other, and we're going to pick a topic, and then you guys are going to talk about it. Does that make sense?
That sounds fun.
Okay. Again, we're talking to Swami and say your name, please. You can just say your whole name.
Acharya Kashi.
And we need to take this quick break. We'll be right back.
They have your eyes. They have your ears. They have your smile. Now all they need is a little more of your time. Make a difference in your child's life, because anyone can be a father. It takes time to be a dad.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. I hope that woke you up. That was designed to wake you up a little bit. And we're talking with Kashi and Swami, and we're talking in the second half of the show. I was just thinking about this. Years ago, before your mother was probably even born, people used to gather around the radio because they didn't have televisions at the time. And I really would like, in the second half of this show, if you're listening to this, I want you to go grab your significant other people that are in your world, and I want you to gather around the radio, because this is going to be a very, very special moment in time when we do this, because it is so grounded in reality, not as reality as our fear brain thinks of it, but in real reality of how we are really supposed to be It really is. For me, this is I could just sit here and listen to the show. This is great fun. Swami, thank you for bringing Kasha, and thank you for coming here. This is a lot of fun.
Kevin, I completely agree. It's a joy to talk with you. It's a joy to talk with Acharya Kashi. It's fabulous.
Ditto.
And so explain to me a little bit more about what we're going to do in the second half of the show. I've got a little break in there, but we'll figure that out. What is it that you guys would like to? What subject matter would you like to talk about?
Kashi, what would you like to talk about?
Let's talk about finding peace in your everyday life. How do you find peace in your workplace, in your families, in your very busy lives?
Yep.
You mean people don't have peace in their everyday lives?
I think in every human life there is a sun ray of peace that pierces through every cloud, and it's on us to be able to recognize that ray. So I do think there is peace in every human life, but whether we are still enough to recognize it, that is a question that is individualized in terms of how we answer it.
One of the things that Swami Shankarananda says was that prayer is raising your frequency to the energy of peace. And so it's possible, it's present, it's available for any one of us just to open and be willing to shift my frequency, shift my energy, so that I'm allowing the energy of peace to be right here. Acharya Kashi referenced the Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh previously, and he was one who shared beautiful teachings about the task for each of us is to be, he called it the calmest person on the boat. And so he gave a very practical example that if you have a group of people who are traveling in a boat and winds come up, it's very important for the physical survival of the people on the boat to remain calm. And he said it only takes one calm person in the boat. So one person sort of anchoring that energy of calm can help everybody else in the boat be calm. And so then for each of us, this would be, if I'm at a meeting at work, my invitation, it's a joyful invitation, but may I be the calmest person in this room. If I'm having a conversation with my family, may I be the calmest person in this room. You're also talking about how to cultivate peace in daily life. And one of the premises of the yogic teachings, which is incredibly liberating and healing, is that I myself am empowered to take responsibility for my responses. And as soon as I recognize that, then anything that arises in time and space, I am empowered to decide, how do I respond? And as soon as I'm in that self-empowerment and the responsiveness, reactivity melts away. So then I'm coming from courage, I'm coming from wisdom, I'm coming from strength, I'm coming from compassion, I'm coming from love, I'm coming from the ability to find a way forward, instead of coming from fear, instead of coming from reactivity. So I think we all know this. The human brain in each of us, if we have a human brain, it has the ability to respond with the fear-based part of our brain. But we also each have the ability to pause and to take a step back and to say, I choose to connect with higher wisdom. I choose to connect with expanded perspective. I choose to connect with the frequency of peace. The frequency of peace is already here. So if I'm not feeling connected to that, as soon as I remember that I am free and empowered from within myself, I can choose instantly in this moment to connect with the frequency of peace. And then the next moment, I can continue to choose to connect with that frequency of peace.
And I've got a real quick down-to-earth example of exactly what you're talking about. I was watching a YouTube. Occasionally I'll watch YouTube, and there was a thing about a guy. He was tired and he sat down in a wooded area and he was just resting, and he didn't see it, but a rattlesnake came up to him and crawled up onto his thigh and was looking at him. Now, this is an eastern diamondback rattlesnake, and they're highly, highly venomous. And he just looked at the snake in the eye without fear, but with understanding of, okay, you're looking at me and I'm looking at you. So now what are we going to do? And then the snake just wandered off. Now, me, I would have been jumping up and down and screaming, and that got bit, and then I'd be dead now. So, so it's a way. So that's how we have the ability to make changes in a situation that on the face of it might appear to be snakes. I hate snakes, but at the same time, we can make the change so that none of that affects us. We need to take a station break, and then I'm going to turn these two ladies loose, and we're going to have a really fun second half of the show. So I hope you'll stay with us. Call your friends, get them. Yes, you give them a call, tell them how to reach us on the radio, and we'll be right back. And we'll be right back, and we'll still be right back.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. That would be me, by the way. But I've got a couple of remarkable people here, and we are going to take this time. They had mentioned at the top of the show that we could talk about it. And that's a fabulous idea. Why don't we? So, if Swami, if you'd like to go into how do you even begin this thing? Because this is a conversation that people can be having all over the world with each other in a really positive way, I think. So explain how it begins, and then the two of you go for it.
So, and specifically, we're chiming in and helping people live in peace in daily life.
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. So, I mean, one of the things is just, I am willing to live in peace in my daily life. And I am willing to come from the energy of peace no matter what. Atari Kashi, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, I was going to posit a question for you, Swami. So typically when we have our Truth, Love, and Justice series, we come with questions that most people have about the topic. And so I'll posit a question and we'll go from there. Swami, why or what is the reason that we often do not feel peace? Like, what is the cause of that feeling of unsteadiness and uncertainty that could make me feel like I don't have peace within me?
So the basic foundational yogic observation is that indicates a moment of self-separateness. That means that I'm not turning within. I'm allowing myself to feel disconnected from this quiet that is my true nature within myself. And so the moment I notice that, then I'm also free and empowered to choose to connect with the feeling of peace within myself. So no matter what is happening in the world, if I am not feeling peace within myself, I'm not feeling peace within myself. So it actually does start within. Nothing has to change in the external world. Nothing has to change in my relationships. I can turn within in this very moment and choose to love myself so much that I feel peace within my heart. I feel peace within my body. I feel peace within my mind and within my life. And then, of course, as a byproduct of that, my conversations will change, my relationships will change, how I interact with my workplace will change, how I interact with the world will change.
Yeah, it's so interesting because we have these wonderful brains that help us to do so many things. And these brains also develop patterns. So we have something called neuroplasticity, meaning that the more we behave in a particular way, the more we behave in that particular way. And so if I develop a pattern that began in my childhood of, if I am unclear about what's going to happen next week, the feeling of anxiousness sets in. Every time I am unclear about what is going to happen next week, there is now a groove in my brain that says, anxiousness, it's your time to shine. And so I fall into this pattern of anxiousness. I'm on autopilot. In the yogic traditions, some of these impressions, which the yogis say we can come into our bodies, into these human lives with certain impressions, are called samskaras. And so the invitation is to be able to witness what are your patterns. If you feel lack of peace, what is the cause within you? Not what's happening on CNN or Fox News. What are the patterns in you that are causing your lack of peace? Because there is a pattern. Once you identify that pattern, I'll go back to the example of, I have a groove in my brain that when I do not know what's going to happen next week, I feel anxiousness. I can acknowledge that pattern. Okay, this is me. All right, I notice that when this thing happens, I become anxious. I can work with this. The wonderful thing about the yogic teachings is that there is a tool for everything. There's a tool for everything. And so if you notice anxiousness within yourself, there are mantras that you can practice. And through the repetitive nature of those mantras, it actually is like healing. It's like offering that pattern to a beautiful light that just melts it. And through the repetitive practice of meditation, it does the same thing. And so again, when we find ourselves not in the experience of peace, the invitation to each of us is to turn inward and say, what within me is saying that this is annoying, this is giving me anxiety, I don't like this, I wish my body looked a different way. If he says one more thing to me, I might be in jail tomorrow. Yeah, you're probably not feeling peaceful if those are your thought patterns. The really cool thing about it, though, is we create these patterns, which means that we're empowered. It means that we can create something different. It does require self-effort. It does require practice. It does require consistency. And with those things, combined with grace, the grace of the guru, God's grace, and if you have a teacher, find a true spiritual teacher. That is like a rocket ship for spiritual healing. And so with those three things, your self-effort, God's grace, and the grace of a teacher, these samskaras take care of themselves, meaning they heal. And then it's like you're constantly living in that consciousness of peace because you are starting to heal the things within you that keep you connected, and me too, when I'm in that mode, that keep us connected to separation consciousness, to the illusion of separation. So when we believe in duality, when we believe that there is a this and that, there is a me and those people over there, there is a they're better than them or they're worse than them, as long as we live in that consciousness, peace is going to be difficult to achieve. Peace is going to be like standing on a mound of sand. It's going to keep moving and we're going to continue to feel unsteady. And so what we do, the practice of yoga, is that we learn to stand on steady ground, meaning we come into contact with true reality, which is the reality of oneness. All of this is an expression of pure consciousness. All of this, the Chandogya Upanishad says, is Brahman. And so coming to recognize that within yourself helps you to witness it in the world. And earlier when I said that oneness, in oneness, all of the the paradoxes are harmonized. It's from that place, all of the things that you see in the world that once gave you anxiety, that once made you roll your eyes, that once made you wonder if you would be in jail the next day, those things become healed in you. And so that is true peace. And once you have that, no man can give you that, and no man can take that away from you. I'm reminded now of the story of Jesus when he was on the boat in the middle of the storm. All of his students are on the boat, and Jesus is asleep. There's a storm happening. He's getting his rest. He is not concerned at all. But his students are afraid. They are afraid by what they see in the realm of time and space. Things are unsteady. So they wake up the teacher and they say, Jesus, there's a storm happening. Our boat it's going to be submerged. And what does Jesus do? He says, peace, be still. And the storm quiets. And so that is the invitation to each of us. When we feel that there is a storm happening in our lives, peace, be still. Figure out for yourself, what is that storm that is happening within you? It only ever feels like it's happening externally, but there is some reactivity within us. That is that storm. Peace, be still. And it all calms. Right. And then we become like masterful, like Jesus. When the storm arises, we're just, we can take a nap. We're chilling. It's not a big deal, because guess what? Storms arise. That's natural. Storms happen. If there is a sky and there is a sky above us, there is the potential for a storm to arise. And so if we just have that level of clarity as we navigate our lives and those storms come up, it's kind of like, hey, storms happen and I'm okay, and peace, be still. And then in that way, we know peace and we know stillness.
What Acharya Kashi was just demonstrating was that each of us has the ability to practice self-observation, self-awareness, and to be balanced and poised and steady in relation to our own thoughts and feelings. And the yogis systematically share teachings that make this possible. I also want to just pay tribute to my teacher, Swami Shankarananda, who founded our meditation community 50 years ago. So we're celebrating our 50th anniversary of our meditation community. And it's just incredible to have humans, anchoring these teachings in time and space. It's fabulous. And Kevin, you were mentioning it can be such a gift to come into contact and meditate in community with other humans who are in this energy of peace, and just to see the beauty of people of all backgrounds, all faiths, all walks of life. Like, these teachings are accessible to everyone, no matter what nationality you are, no matter if you describe yourself as religious or spiritual, or you're just interested in feeling more calm and peaceful. And you'll see everyone from like age 6 into their 90s. And the teachings are also, they're free and they're accessible. So you can join our meditations online as well. And there's just so much joy, so much aliveness, so much wholeness that is gained by meditating in community with others who are loving these teachings that we have just been talking about.
That's really cool. I did have a question for you two.
Mm-hmm.
And that is this, because Kashi, you were mentioning it when you're apprehensive about the future. Oh, what's next week gonna bring? What, I got to go to work tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday. I hate my job, and so forth. And you're apprehensive about all of these things. Isn't it possible for you to make a shift in your thinking, rather than what's coming up that I'm nervous about because it's going to be bad, because I'm feeling anxious about it, to being excited about the future? Look what gets to happen next week. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be a fabulous ride, whatever it is. Is that a shift that people can make? And can yoga help with that?
Absolutely. To welcome the divine adventure. It's all a divine adventure, no matter what it is. And if you have that sense of, a yogi cultivates the ability to be the friend of all beings, because within each of us is a universal kindness, a universal kinship, a recognition. We're all interrelated. We're all interconnected. And so when you're moving in that energy, next week is your friend. Time and space is your friend. If you are in contact with this energy of universal friendliness within yourself, anxiety melts away. And so then you're back into that energy of exuberance and joy and creativity and curiosity and wonder. And it becomes an amazing adventure to discover what next week brings.
And that's the basic premise of life, is for life is a grand adventure, and we should embrace it and enjoy it. Is everything perfect? No, everybody has a bad country music song from time to time, but we learn from those things, and that's okay. But if you treat it like everything is bad, my whole life is bad, guess what? You just created a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your life is going to be bad. So change it. You can. You from within, right?
That's right. And you know, honestly, for some of us, and I've had this experience, the leap from where I am to that pivot of like, wow, life is a divine adventure can feel too great. It can feel inauthentic. And so what I always suggest is the willingness to see from a different perspective. Like if I can't get there, let me be willing to shift my perspective. Let me be willing to see what is here that is good. Let me be willing to practice gratitude. If I can't practice it, I'm willing to have a different perspective. And so I invite anybody who feels like, man, that I can't do that. Like I am not looking forward to going into work, and I'm not looking forward to going into work. And that is what it is. Are you willing to find something delightful about your day? Are you willing? And so if you are willing to do that, willingness is a vibration that will take you all the way to clarity. And so be willing. It really will. It will help you to shift your perspective. And if you are not willing, that's okay too. It just kind of means that I'm comfortable being uncomfortable, which I don't know that we're ever really comfortable being uncomfortable. I think there is something in us innate, a seed. It's quiet, it's tender, it's pure, and it exists within each of us. And it is calling us home. And so I think we all have that thing where if we're making a mess, that thing in us is like, there's a way to clean up the mess you made, like there's a way to clean it up. So yeah, willingness will take us all the way if that shift feels really, really like too big of a leap.
And some of us, it takes somebody else to help us learn what we are capable from within to learn. And that's why you have a yogi. That's why you have, Swami. That's why there's
That's
you.
right. I mean, I say that from experience. Like when I met Swami and when I first met Swami, it was clear to me, wow, this is my teacher. But I had to see it I had to see a person living the teachings without exception, like just living in kindness and living in joy and living everything that she talks about, for me to really be like, wow, this is possible. And then to practice with consistency without beating myself up when I felt like I was not consistent or when I was unclear. Just that unconditional love of a teacher made it possible for me to keep going forward. So I say with absolute certainty, and just living the teachings and being a person that is just a regular person, who met an extraordinary teacher, that having a living example makes such a difference in your life.
I would agree as well. I mean, one of the things that my teacher said, Swami Shankarananda, his understanding of Jesus being baptized by John, his understanding of that is that Jesus is making visible that everybody in embodiment needs help. Everybody in embodiment needs blessings. Everybody in embodiment, we're here to help each other. Like there's nobody who is separate from this. If we're here and we have a human body and a human heart and a human mind, like we're here to connect with other pure-hearted humans and to help one another live the true nature of each of us, which Acharya Kashi has been demonstrating this and talking about it in words as well. But just that exuberance and that calm and that kindness and that ability to transform. And it's not transformation that comes from outside of us. It's from turning within and recognizing I am empowered to transform from within. I am empowered to illumine myself from within, because that light and that pure energy of potentiality, that's there. It is the heart of each one of us. And so there is, I would also say this as well, when I met my teacher, Swami Nityananda, it was like that moment, time just stopped, and you can just feel the presence of light. And that presence of light is the teacher reflecting to you your own heart. That light is you. It's within your own heart. You're simply becoming aware that teacher's holding and anchoring the frequency of what is true and what is real and what is undying. That energy of just immortal, boundless, unconditional light and exuberance and love and wisdom and freedom and gladness. And it's real. I mean, Acharya Kashi was talking about this, like it's very simple, not to say that it's always very easy from a human perspective, but it's very simple. It's not complicated at all. And it's possible for every human on the planet to remember my true nature is kindness. My true nature is sweetness. My true nature is steady strength. My true nature is wisdom. And this is, the yogis say, this is the destiny of every human. This is real for every human. And there's an amazing, just like a lightning bolt of awakening or illumination that happens when you come into the presence of a true teacher who's living these teachings of truth, and a community that's living these teachings of truth.
I'll tell you, based upon what Kashi was just saying, you're a hell of a teacher. I got to tell you that.
I agree with that, Kevin.
There may be a little irreverent, but you're a hell of a teacher. And but we need to take a real quick break, and then I've got a real thing I want to share with you two, and then we will be right back with our final segment. We're talking, and by the way, go to their website, which is awakeyogameditation.org, and we will be right back.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
With Kevin McDonald, I think we've had a tremendous show today, and Swami, I'd like to thank you for bringing this young lady to us. She is you really are a remarkable young person. I got to tell you. I hope that there are other young people, because everybody's young to me, but you're a young person still, and I hope everybody takes advantage of your guys' groups that you are part of. Go to the website and learn all about that. I wanted to tell you guys something. I got an email from a gentleman last night, and I've been doing this for a while, and I really liked that with the Brushwood Media Network, and some people are actually reaching out. And this one, I literally almost fell out of my chair. So I wanted to, it says, this is from Stanley. It said, Mr. McDonald, I called the network and asked for your email. You've been such a blessing to me each week. Some of your shows, I put tidbits when preparing my sermon. You are reaching additional souls and changing lives. Blessings, Reverend Stanley. It's like, holy mackerel, we are making a difference, and you guys are making a difference today. It really is cool when I can present people like you, and this episode is going to be up, I don't know, forever. And so we're going to have the opportunity, you're going to have the opportunity to change lives, not this week, maybe not next week, but it could be in a year. It could be in 5 years. Somebody's going to come across this episode and they are going to feel like peace is within their grasp, love is within their grasp, kindness, all the things that you guys talk about and that I talk about too. If I could bend, I would be doing yoga.
Oh, well, good news. I mean, Kevin, so first of all, I just wanted to chime in and say it's such a joy to talk with you. And I echo what your correspondent said. Like, you share joy and blessings. It's great. I love it and respect it. And then we actually don't do physical yoga asanas. We're a
Oh, thank
meditation
God.
community. Yeah, so you just can sit in a comfortable chair and meditate.
You know, I was part of a meditation group, and I tell you, the energy that is throughout the group when even when the meditation is over, everybody's in a different place than they were when they went into the meditation. Has that been your experience?
It's true. It shifts consciousness, it shifts frequency, it shifts energy. Incredible wholeness arises from within ourselves. And so another way to say that is it's very, very healing and it's from within ourselves. And so this can be deeply calming. It can help with sleep. It can help our immune systems. It can help, Kashi was talking earlier about, it can help heal any of those patterns. Like if we have any patterns of recursive thinking or spiraling thinking that isn't particularly helpful for us, we can self-heal our own thought patterns. And so what happens then is we gain this ability to choose healthy thought patterns we love, thought patterns that bring us great joy and that allow us to cultivate that spirit of curiosity and that spirit of inventiveness and that, you know, remember what it's like to be a kid and to just be so delighted and inspired by everything, like the rocks and the trees and the plants and the leaves and the flowers and just being here. And so for us, just in the simplicity, directly to have that joy of being right where we are, nothing changing externally, just allowing ourselves to feel the awe and the wonder and the beauty and the magic of being right where we are.
That is beautiful. And Kashi, you've got a minute and a half, and I want to give you a minute and a half. We're going to step aside. Tell our audience anything that you would like them to know.
I want you to know that you are loved beyond any words that I can say, more than all of the letters in every book that has ever been published, more than all of the grains of sand, more than all of the stars, that you are adored and that you can come into contact with that love within you right now and right now and right now in every moment. And that love uplifts you. It carries you. It walks with you. It breathes with you. It writes with you. It drives with you. It speaks through you. And that you, in fact, already know that love. It is the very sincere smile offered to you from a friend. It is the delight you feel when something magical happens. It's the breeze that you feel when you are walking outside. It is the warmth of the sun on your skin. It is everything, and you already know it. The words that I am speaking to you are very familiar, in fact, because they arise from that very thing. And so there is nothing to say, but you are love. You already are what you are looking for. You don't have to cross any river, travel to any country. You don't have to do anything. It is with you eternally. It is, in fact, what you are, and it is what all is. And that the promise, the certainty that you will be reconciled to yourself is already written because you are already known. And it is grace, it is pure consciousness, it is that love itself which has made all of this possible. So take delight in your journey, take delight in your life, because it is every experience, it is all of it that leads you to the remembrance of yourself, to that well of love that exists within you and within all.
Swami, you got just 30 seconds, but I got to tell you, you have taught this child well, I do have to say.
I mean, so here's the really great news. What happens when you come into contact with the truth is what Kashi just demonstrated. You are the truth. I mean, Kevin, you demonstrate this. You share the truth every time that you speak, every time that you connect with a listener every time you connect with someone that you're talking with. And this is true for every listener as well. You are already the truth. And so what a teacher does is hold the frequency, the recognition of that which you already are, and then you unfold that from within yourself. And it is the divine within you that is doing all of the work. And so in truth, what I can just say is I salute the divine in Kevin. I salute the divine in the Charyakashi. I salute the divine in every listener and in every human on the planet. And that is the true nature of each of us. And it is amazing. It is an absolutely joyful, dynamic, blessed experience to be here when we have that awareness and that self-remembrance.
Thank you, ladies, for being here. Swami, thank you for inviting Kashi. You're terrific. You need to come back. We need to do this again. Go to their website, which again, Swami, the website again is?
awakeyogameditation.org, and all are welcome.
As always. And I want to remind you of a wonderful saying that was phrased by the Gospel according to John Lennon. All you need is love. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin@kmmedia.pro.